don't even look at this. You want to do more than one property a year.
Huh?
You don't even look at this. You want to do more than one property a year.
Well, that's true.
Well, all of them have to be fixed for at least 5 years.
Well, I mean,
I don't have any adjustable rate
fixed
mortgage.
to an index.
Fixed to an indexed. Oh, you just look at what prime is that day. So the prime rate or the T-bill or whatever.
You can have a start rate,
Yeah.
but then
When it adjust in 5 years. Yeah. And anyone can just look up like the T-bill, like what's a 12-month, mutual.
It went up so much, I'm gonna dump this, that.
Based on, well, you have to have a start. You have to have a starting rate though. So let me just back up here. What goes into an interest rate on an adjustable rate mortgage? This is just for you guys' knowledge. It's not you. If you want to, go ahead and make an adjustable rate mortgage. I don't do adjustable rate mortgages with people.
wouldn't recommend it.
No, man, because the accounting on the back end for that every single year is just ridiculous. But let me just show you what this is. So, rate is your index plus margin. So the margin is your fixed portion. This is how the bank makes money.
The note we looked at the other day was 2 1/4.
Yep.
One we saw on
Yep.
screen.
So, and that's a very common one. So a fixed margin of 2 1/4%. And then you take the index. So today, what's the prime is what? Or not prime, but the Fed's funds rate is I think 2 1/4 right now, isn't it?
No idea. I'm on LIBOR.
LIBOR is probably about 3. Let's say it's 3 1/8. So you look at that, it comes 5 3/8 is your interest rate. So say in 5 years, this has gone up to, let's say 8. You're going to add 8 plus 2 1/4, you now have a 10.25 interest rate.
But you have caps on margin.
But you definitely have caps. So it's probably going to be like no more than like a 2 1/4% raised in the first hike, whatever. So you're going to be stuck at, 2 and
You have a lifetime cap.
lifetime cap as well. So I don't get into this stuff, but when you see a thing out there, so if you take over a mortgage and it does have an adjustable rate mortgage, it's important for you to know that, hey, my interest rate is based off index plus margin. And if you read the deed of trust, it'll tell you what the margin is and it'll tell you what the index is, and you can figure out where you're going to be moving forward and things like that.
But then you don't pass along an adjustable rate to them?
Great question. So if I have an adjustable rate mortgage already in play, so what I do is I have a rider, a piece of paper, basically just says, hey, I understand that there's an adjustable rate mortgage already in play as the underlying debt of this. My debt to you is not adjustable rate. I'm giving you a fixed rate mortgage. But if in the event that my underlying debt would increase, yours would as well to compensate for the difference. And I only have 2 that are like that. And both of my guys were like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't care.
Is your rider in your package?
Yes, it is.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh. And but here's a question for Dodd-Frank that I could not find the answer to, and neither could people that I've asked, that I've paid money to understand this. Who is seller financing? Am I seller financing it because I'm the person on title who's selling it? Or is it the borrower who has their loan that's being used as,
You mean the seller.
I'm sorry, the borrower, I meant
Yeah,
the original borrower, original seller. Are they the one seller financing it because we're using their existing financing that's in place?
Well,
No,
earlier,
because they didn't engage anything, you engaged that.
well, earlier we
activity.
We'll see.
talked about the contract. You said, I have an equitable interest once I sign this contract, so that becomes us as a
Me.
seller.
That's how I interpret it.
You're basically another link in the chain of the first borrower's borrowing from the bank, that bank's borrowing from the Fed.
Right. So let's go over then. So I'm going to interpret it as it's me. So one property year, basically you don't have to worry about anything. Other than if you're going to do an interest rate, it has to be adjustable after 5 years, and it can be a balloon payment if needed. Okay, if you do 1 to 3 of these a year, mortgage cannot have a balloon payment. Seller does have to qualify the buyer for repayment. Interest rate needs to be tied to an index fixed for at least 5 years. And after 5 years, it can only adjust 2% up or down per adjustment and never 6% above the original note rate. So there's our caps.
Lifetime cap.
Yep. If we're doing 3+ properties, mortgage cannot have a balloon payment. Seller does have to qualify the buyer for repayment. Interest rates, the same as before. Must have a mortgage loan originator involved in the process. You need to have someone qualify these people to make sure that they can afford the monthly payments.
Can I call myself the mortgage loan originator?
You have to be licensed.
It's it's not a hard test. I took it and passed it last year.
Yeah, I was
It
licensed.
wasn't bad.
Yeah. So what do you do? How do you get around that?
Sorry?
So how do you get around this issue?
I don't know.
All right. 2 things. Let me show you this. I have sold a property with a balloon. I shouldn't say I sold a property. Let me back up and reword this here. I was paid a consulting agreement to consult with the seller who sold his property on a balloon payment. Only property he's done ever. Where does that fall under Dodd-Frank?
He's fine.
He's totally fine. I got paid a nice $17,000 consulting fee, and the deal was that. So when it comes to mortgage origination, loan officer, they have to use what's called a 1003 application. They have to pull credit. They have to review their debt-to-income ratio, their DTI, and they have to provide a truth in lending. It's a TIL form to the buyer. Truth in lending basically says, hey, this is the interest rate that you're getting. This is how much interest you're going to pay over time. All of that jazz. So I use Sherry Schmitz in Sacramento. She is super easy. She has an online application, and I pay her $350 per application. I have another guy, Brian Barnes in Sacramento, says, Ryan, screw Sherry. I'll do it for free because I know what's going to happen is they're eventually going to come back to me because they're going to want to refinance in the future. So there are mortgage guys out there that will do this for you. It was so simple. All you have to do is just put I put a post on Facebook, and that's where I got all these people from. I know Brian for years. Sherry, I don't know. I didn't know her until she was referred to me from another person. Great gal. She's no problem to work. She's easy to work with. Like I said, it's only $350.
So when they,
Yep.
so when you, let's say you send it over to her.
Yep.
And does she contact them, or do you send all their information?
No, she contacts them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then,
Brian says he'll do it for free if I collect all their like W-2, pay stubs, all that stuff.
okay.
Yep.
And then they kick back a report to you.
Yes. So they'll give to the buyer their application, their credit. Actually, I don't no, not the credit, just the application. And the till. That's the only 2 things I need. Is the 1003 and the till.
You don't have to have a pre-qualifier.
Nope. Yeah.
Are there rules, like, do you know what they're underwriting to say what their DTI is?
Less than 45%. But
So you can get a feel for it.
yeah, and actually, they go the same as FHA guidelines. So it's now up to 55% back-end ratio. Front-end ratio can't be more than 33%, which means that, so front-end ratio is that the house payment cannot be more than 33% of their overall monthly payment. All of their debts combined cannot be more than 55% of their overall monthly income. So
And there's a fudge factor as you go up.
there is a little bit, yeah. So
You go up to a person who's buying $1 million home.
when you get in the jumbo and stuff like that, yeah. So when I do more than these, this is what I haven't. This year I haven't done more than 3 this year. So I haven't used Sherry this year. But in Reno, I got a guy for you in Reno if you want him.
So question for you. So let's say you've done 3 by November. You do a 4th one in December. You just do it on the 4th one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
The first 3 are
In a given year.
You said 3+ though, which means the first 2. You meant more than 3.
Yeah, 3+. Yeah, because I think they have it as what did Dodd-Frank have it as? Yeah. So your first one. So basically this is 2 to 3 really, and this is 3+. 4 plus? Okay, yeah, 4 plus.